Moment of silence for the chemtrails, because they are back out today. I thought we were done with the chemtrails, bro. All right, let me be quiet now. All right, that's enough. It's dark and hell is hot. I know because I'm here now, baby. It's going down, baby. Get the full pound, baby. That is my rendition of also honoring DMX as it was his solar return yesterday. And being outside here with the sun is just, as you can tell, we got me and Plant here because we need this. We've been in hermit mode for Sheezy. And, you know, something that I thought when I had to gather, shout out to my cousin Paris for this mug because this was I think my birthday gift. I'm not sure. Celestial, but let's sip this coffee. Coffee with hope. So my thought was while I was concocting this up together today, and it was, what are you going to do when all of your favorite celebrities are no longer in power and reign? I was listening to this girl Moon, and she was prophesying about how there's going to be a major humiliation ritual that will take place. And I recall earlier this year on the Vocal Dialect podcast about me saying Kendrick Lamar's song, They Not Like Us, was a humiliation ritual. And it was that day when he had that big concert out in the city in LA, and they recited it. My cousin said 8 times. I thought it was 5 times, but she said 8 times, and I only believe it was 8 because it's an 8 year, and that actually makes sense. You know, Saturn's return. I had been doing a deep dive into the origins of Christmas over the weekend, and I only knew this because, you know, I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness, and we were taught about pagan holidays and pagan religion and how they basically decided to remove some of their beliefs and hide others into the Gregorian Calendar, which is how we have all of these pagan holidays present day. They really didn't necessarily get rid of all of their practices, which is why we recognize them today as pagan holidays. And when she said that, it really made me think about, you know, like I said, what I said about Kendrick and how that song is a humiliation ritual. And while it is still very much so valid, I am not against it. They aren't like us. They cannot be like us. But I think more people are awakening to the truth about who we are. And, you know, just listening to his most recent album, I had knew that he had to drop a new album for the Super Bowl performance, because you can't, like, let's not negate, Kendrick is fire. Like, DNA is still my favorite album to this day. You could listen to that. You could listen to any album front and back, let's not cap. But specifically, DNA just hit different for me personally. And, you know, thinking about some of his new songs, he's literally dropping gems and telling you in these songs about who you are and what these people have done to us our whole life, you know, and there is like a slither of us who recognize this is happening, right? So it's like, what would you do when your favorite people are no longer in power? Who will you follow then? You know, there's going to be a great division, which we often talk about, you know, a separation, but the great division is going to be about the Wheel of Fortune. So now you got the people who are righteous, who will be in power, and those who have always, you know, worshipped lower entities and vibrations will fall to their rightful place. You know, no disrespect or shade to the queer community. I love y'all just like I love myself. I love all people, you know, let's not press that. You know, I just put my people a little bit more higher on the food chain, you know what I mean? Ew. And I just recognize that the flag that represents the queer community is inverted to the chakras. And you have to recognize that they will consistently push your lower root chakra in the forefront, because that's how they always operated in European culture. You walk around, you see queer statues or men exposing their genitals all over the place. It's just this patriarchal society that they wanted to spoon feed us with. And I always complain about how we've never had a choice. We've never had a choice between indigenous or colonialism. And I'm pretty sure present day, many of us would have preferred indigenous culture and lifestyle over colonialism, because so many of us have realized that it has never been for us. If you think about an army and how they seek, kill, and destroy, what does that sound reminiscent of? They talk about how Satan is the ruler of darkness and all evil, and how he roams around like a roaring lion seeking to steal, kill, and destroy. This is no different. Babylon is no different. If you look at the dynasties of the world and go down, how long these things reigned in power, who took over when and what. Europeans have always colonized any place that they settled by force. It's never been on some peace negotiations. It has always been by force. Always been by force, and I really genuinely don't understand how they have gotten away with this for so long. Y'all are 200 years old. 200. But yet somehow y'all was like, we conquering anything. Y'all came up out the mountains and shit was like, oh, I got feet. Oh, this is sunlight. Oh, this is animals. Oh, this is. And then all of a sudden they empower. I had pause moment. I had some tax planning preparation discussions with quite a few people in the last couple of days, and it forced me to go back into EYL's Earn Your Leisure's Rolodex of videos and episodes. And one of these episodes that I'll never forget, I want to say it was when Queen Elizabeth died, and her husband, I want to say Charles, he ended up restructuring the laws so that he didn't have to pay taxes on a $750 million estate. Originally, it was like $355 or $425 million that you didn't have to. I want to say it was like, I don't know if it was capital gains, but I'll just say tax because I don't know the specifics right off the dome. But he changed it so that he wouldn't have to pay taxes on that estate, which is just ridiculous. And the fact that you can put a monetary value on items that you stole is ridiculous. So if our ancestors have $750 million worth of artifacts held by the crown, which is why Wakanda forever is so dope, because there was one person who said, oh, this is mine. This belonged to my ancestors, and straight took it out the museum. Why are we not doing that? Outside of the fact that they're going to arrest us because, again, steal, kill, and destroy. They want to conquer so bad that they just don't want you to have a normal life. Like, people don't realize that the weather is so controlled. Like, look at these chemtrails. They all of a sudden came cumulus clouds. But thinking about, you got weather control, you have soil control. So that means all your food is contaminated. Okay? That's number one. Number two, You have drinking water also contaminated. Let's call it Gatorade. You got that red dot 40 in that shit too. Let's think. Food, water, shelter. Oh, yeah, that's right. Rent and mortgages are astronomical, and it's almost forcing people to be in homes together. So while that may seem like a negative thing, it can also be a positive because we need to get back to that anyway. You know, I watch shows like Greenleaf or think about, ooh, what was I watching recently? The Family That Prays, the movie with Sanaa Lathan, and she was a Carmichael. Her son was a Carmichael, and they were a rich white family who her mom worked for, and then later became part owner in the Carmichael family as well. But I say that all to say, those homes in those movies all had both white families and black families living together in one home, which is why you have that big house, plantation house energy, right? I always want a shirt off my arm. So funny. And that's how that plantation home came to be. But I think we stigmatized it because of what it represented, quote unquote, the master's house, right? Living in Alabama, you know, there's people with tons and tons of acres, and they have multiple full single family homes on those properties. Years ago, I saw a property for like $525,000. It was 39 acres and had 3 single family homes on it, right? So it's like, this is a normal thing. You have one big house where everybody comes, you eat there, you sleep there, everything's vibrant, and then you just got smaller properties for whatever you may deem necessary, right? If people come off and have families and they don't want to live in a big house, then guess what? You still on the family's land, but you got to come eat dinner at the big house every single day. You know, I think that is kind of like what we're getting back into, but I think it has to start with the crumbling of the real estate that currently exists. I recently watched a show called Growing Broke, GROWING BROKE. It is a free documentary. It's like 45 minutes long and is the most mind-blowing, eye-opening segment that I have ever witnessed. And it just forces me to believe that we have been poisoned far too long, and that many people's symptoms have been dormant, and this Jabberwocky was the reason why the sicknesses are revealing themselves present day. Because for decades you have been using products, toxic products that have multi-uses. Think about it. They say Lysol was originally a vag spray, and it was meant to keep women freshy, but it was really meant for napkins to be freshy, because let's be frank, we don't play those fucking games over here, okay? I'm taking a shower every day. And on the days that I probably haven't, or maybe skipped a day, I didn't move out of my fucking bed. You know? So it's like every day, 2 times a day, morning and night. It's a requirement. You just have to take care of your temple and honor it. So why should I allow a Lysol spray that was originally used for your vag to be used as a disinfectant now? Hey, that house is empty right there. You know, just thinking about where we are as a people, where we are as a culture, where we are as a society in America, going back to the dynasties, the West has always been a slave land. That is what they intended. The crown, meaning, has always intended for the West to be a slave land. They didn't care who resided here. They just knew that something over there has to exist, because we didn't conquer it yet. And when we get there, we're going to conquer it, and we're going to make it a slave labor land. And this is why you get sucked into a system of school then secondary school, then the 9 to 5. You always aspire to be a corporate employee. Think about it. They had retail employees, service employees, these doctors, lawyers, and then those corporate professionals who ran the world, right? You had always aspired to be a corporate 9 to 5 employee because that signified that you made it. You got a salary. Oh, I'm not hourly, I'm salary. Like, all that means is that I use it to my advantage, but all that means is that they could work you anytime, any day, all hours of the night if you wish. And you have to work because you don't have a punch clock. You don't clock in, you don't clock out. You are available. That's what salary means. And the hourly employees, realize that they are the bottom line. So if they're working and if they are capable of getting overtime, they feel like that's better than a salary employee. And frankly, I'd rather be salary because if I need to cut out at 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 9 a.m., and I just got there at 7, I don't care. I'm still going to get the same paycheck every time we get paid, okay? And that's why that worked for me personally. As you continue to operate and move and shake through the corporate trap, you realize that it's no different from the hood trap. It's no different from anything else. It's still a trap. And the only way to combat a trap is to be the one who sets the trap, or the one to completely avoid it all in all. For years, I was like, I just want to be a head honcho, bossing people around. What's the fastest way I could do that? Oh, I know, become an entrepreneur. So I just want to really help you to see that once your favorite A-listers, elitists, celebrities, whatever you want to call them, because I call them people. I see them, I don't even know who they are half the time, and they know that I don't know who they are. Bro, that shit's so funny to me. I'm no groupie, bro. Like, never. I got your boyfriend feeling like a groupie. Fuck is you talking about? Let me not, because it be going too far with this mouth. Y'all thought I had a mouth before, baby. I promise you, I'm so unapologetic. So unapologetic. But I say that all to say, what are you going to do? Who will you, quote unquote, worship then? Because that's all that celebrity is. It's a form of worship. And I don't want to be worshipped by anyone. I just want to be helping people. Someone, I have been avoiding going into the DMs because it's so many of them. Like, I'm exhausted. I responded back to 2 DMs and I'm just like, nope, don't want to do this, because the phone is buzzing bzz, bzz, like every couple of minutes, because people are excited that I finally replied after 2.5 months of being MIA. And I'm like, nope, don't want it. But someone was just checking on me like, are you okay? Because you have been speaking about SA abuse, and I just want to make sure that your well-being is okay, because I know some people who have taken their life from that in the past. And I'm like, oh, boo, I'm more than okay. I enjoy speaking about my trauma because I know that it heals and helps other people. Sometimes you just click on a message and you don't even know what's going to be the outcome of the message. You just hear a title and you be like, oh, should I or should I not? But you have no idea what gem is going to be. People are like, you should use an outline when you speak. You should do. I am channeling these messages for a whole entire collective. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to use a script for a channel. You can't. It comes from the divine. You can't script God. Additionally, if we are about to witness a humiliation ritual once again at the Super Bowl, there are going to be things that are going to be revealed to us that a lot of people are going to turn their backs on a lot of these people for days to come. And truth be told, I have removed myself from socials because some things I just didn't care to know. You know, this whole Diddy fiasco was growing on, and I'm like, bro, I've been in parties with Diddy, I've been in nightclubs like with these people, like that wasn't my experience, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that it didn't happen, but what I'm saying is these things were happening under our noses and we had no idea, you know. And I think that that is a tall tell sign about the things that are going to start being revealed to us, because there are always hidden things of the spirit, right? And there are always hidden things from people, because God did not want us to see, for us to see these things just yet. There's always a divine timing to most things. And if you're not ready to experience those things because you've healed so deeply where it doesn't bother you, then how will you survive going into 2025 on the Gregorian calendar? I want some avocado. I think that a lot of people don't realize that you have dis-ease in your body because of the trauma that you have held onto, which is what my response was to the person checking on me about the essay. And I was like, this is how cancer is created. People have no idea that dis-ease is, your body is not at ease. It's doing quite the opposite. And while we cannot notice on the external, it's all in the internal, right? So if your soul is not well, if your trauma has not been healed, it is impossible for you to have ease within. So that's why dis-ease is created. This is why so many people die of cancer instead of recognizing that they haven't healed internally the disease. I kept saying oh my goodness, I have to find these videos from 2020. I kept saying in 2020 that COVID was a disease. And here we are. And that shit is what it is. Do you understand? Like, I've turned down so many amazing men, and it's no shade, and they know who they are. You know, I could roll off the tip of my tongue how many great men I've literally just turned away because they took the Jabberwocky. And I'm like, I do not want that in my womb. I do not want to create a child in that energy. You have no idea what that thing is going to evolve and breed to. You want to talk about population control? You're going to see next year the population being controlled. Mark my words. I'm tired of saying this. I've said it for years now and nobody listens to me. And like I said, I totally did not want to stop talking to half of the people that I stopped talking to, but I just know things in my soul that I cannot explain. And I know some of them were offended. You know, some of them, a lot of them said I did it for work. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck about that job. You won't take my soul. I don't even like that song. But I promise you, that shit was accurate. I got fired twice, which affects me today because of the short tenure on my resume. Like, bitch, how is you up here on these roles and didn't last in them? Well, you know, and this is what forces me to continue to be an entrepreneur, because I am not a fucking yes man. This is why I have to be the manager and not managed. You know, I know how to play my part. I know how to sit back and observe and absorb, you know, and I think that's the luxury of being me, because people often think that you can be easily manipulated. Like all these water signs, they always use those emotions to manipulate people, and I don't think that people realize how much they can be manipulated if you understood how to manipulate them. And it's not to say that we're using it as a tactic to be manipulative, but manipulation is a spirit, as is jealousy, as is greed, as is envy, and so on and so forth. So how do you combat a spirit? You have to use your words. You have to use your actions, because you cannot manipulate somebody who already sees through your manipulation. You understand? Last night it rained, and I'm sitting in the wet, damp soil recording for y'all. And I don't mind. It's probably like 40 degrees outside, but the sun, makes it feel much warmer. There were very, very high, powerful chemtrails. They had initiated tsunami warnings and earthquakes in some remote lands this morning and this afternoon. And it's only a matter of time before the entire eastern hemisphere of the U.S. will be affected by that as well. Oh, La Nina is coming. And you have to understand that this is not... So I believe that weather is controlled by the gods, right? There are energies, forces, and spirits who control the weather, right? And, Saturn, Jupiter has been in the orbit, Pluto as well, Mercury went retrograde. A lot of these planets and things like that have been around us in our Earth's orbit for quite some time, but I don't think that people realize the energy that also comes with them, and how certain planets and gods that may be in the sky are affecting our planet's weather. And when you do wrong by people for so long, or you've done so much to try to manipulate the weather and the earth, what do you think is going to happen? Bro, these trees are not trees. They're male trees, and they're dying. Like, how evil could you be that you don't want people to walk and pick a fruit off a tree to eat, to sustain their livelihood? Who are you to make all water bottled and toxic? Shout out to the EPA for forcing a minimal requirement for clean water. I don't know, and I pray that there was a deadline to get everybody's water back up to par. But I'm from New York City. We used to drink tap water because it was better than bottled water. Like, you could just let that drink run for a couple minutes. It's project water. You got project water and project heat. Y'all don't know about that. Y'all don't know about that. Some of y'all might, but y'all don't know about project water and project heat. But that New York City tap water is very unique, which is why, shout out to my cousin, Q's Corner Cafe out in Columbia, South Carolina. He imports his bagels because he know that the water is important. So, you have people who have literally trying to offer us our entire lives. It's to the point where people can't even sustain themselves. More people are eating fresh produce and vegetables, and I thrive off soup. I will eat soup every single day. Last night I had a mixed grill soup, and I was like, I don't think I want noodles this time. I think I want to make like rice. So I had made a fire broth, bro. Fire broth. I got the broth on Smash right now. Fire broth, and I had cooked some basmati rice, and I had a piece of probably this big, I would say, of both a piece of chicken and a piece of flank steak, and I just cut them vertically and put them in my bowl with my rice, and then just poured the broth on top. And I had stewed up some cabbage, kind of like how the island people do with onions and carrot. Yo, that was the most satisfying meal that I had because it was just simple, straight to the point, still very filling, still very good. You know, it made my bones feel good. I don't require much now that I'm kind of going more into like Rasta life. You know, I'm trying to figure out how is it possible for me to be full on ITAL, which I really don't want to be, I'm not going to lie. But because my body benefits from eating steak every once in a while. Like I grew up anemic, so sometimes if I don't have like the right nutrients or if I'm not getting enough vitamins, I'll start getting like blood clots and things being exposed on my skin, which signifies like you either have like low iron or you need some type of nutrients in your system, so on and so forth. So I know how to take care of my body, and I know that I have to eat steak at least once a month or some type of like dairy. So, you know, I'm full on small meat portions because I don't need a lot, you know, but when you're ITAL, it's like everything is all natural. There's no animal products at all. And when I was there, like I said, it was stigmatized. People were like talking about how I look like a sea head because I was so slim, but I was completely ITAL, like completely all natural, raw, vegan. You know, you can have cooked food, but it has to be at, I think, like 125 degrees. And it has to be eaten while it's cold, kind of, or cool, warm, you know, if you will, to be considered raw still. So I would do like stir fries and things like that. And that's how I got on with the soup vibe, because I'm like, I could eat like drink a clear broth or something like that. So I had adopted a lot of like Asian cultures, characteristics for when I'm eating. And that's how I fell in love with the soup. Always. I'll have soup for breakfast. I don't care. I think it's what, gazpacho? That's cold. Hate it. It's good, but no. Soup is hot. So funny. But yeah, consider who will you worship? You know, if there really is a finite revelation of the Wheel of Fortune, because it's definitely coming, and I think that this 9-year will show you how many of these A-listers will crumble to their demise. And you know, I had watched a video about Beyonce's new ring, and I'm like, didn't they just get a divorce? That's collateral. That is an insurance policy. That ring was huge with like 2 emeralds on it. It's fire. Don't get me wrong. Fire ring. Looked like 30 carats to me. But I promise you, that is an insurance policy. And we will witness what will happen to many people, like many people, from any industry, from any realm. You see right now, you got Amazon and Starbucks striking right now, like all over the place. Teamsters, you know, big time union, very, very notable unionized organization. They were like, oh no, it's up. So you got people not getting packages for holiday time. Oh, this shit about to be bananas. And I'm gonna just sit back like MJ on the popcorn vibes. Like, told you. Anyways, I want to meditate some. I hope y'all have an amazing day. I am off these internet streets for a couple of days. I need my power back. Peace.